You want to be a foster parent, but you're not sure if you can afford to do it. Good news. In this episode, we're going to talk all about the financial side of foster care. My name is Brian Woodruff. I'm a foster and adoptive parent. I'm the creator of fostercareaction.com. I'm an author of the book, You Think You Want to Be a Foster Parent. You want to be a foster parent, but you're not sure if you can afford it. Today, we're going to talk about all things financial when it comes to regards to foster care. What you need to make, what you're going to receive, and we'll break it down into a way that you'll be able to look at it through your family's budget and decide if this is something that you can do. So let's start off with what foster care does and what foster care doesn't do. So foster care will give you a stipend. It's a per day set amount of money per child that is designated to be used to offset the cost of having that child in your home. Now, we should back up and say that to become a foster parent, you first must be able to show that you can financially support your household without a foster child in it. Meaning, you can pay your mortgage or your rent, you can pay your utility bills, you can make your car payments, you can make your credit card payments. You can do all of those payments currently without any subsidies. Now, that's not to say that you could take on a child without subsidies. That's not the requirement. The requirement is you can financially support yourself now without subsidies. Once that's determined and you become a foster parent, then there's a stipend that is given. And a stipend is nothing more than a sum of money that's paid daily. It's calculated daily. It's not paid daily. It's paid once a month, but we'll get more into that. But it's a daily amount of money that is given to you for each child that you have in your home that's in foster care. The good news is this money is tax-free. So there are no taxes taken out of it. And at the end of the year, when you file your federal income tax, you will not have to claim this as income. So when I tell you the amount, it may not sound like a lot, but if you think about it in a tax-free situation, it's way more than you think. So let's just get down to the nitty-gritty and talk about how much is the stipend and how it's paid and so on. So on average, again, every state is different. I understand this can even change from county to county. It definitely changes from agency to agency, but on average, if you take a non-high risk or medically fragile child, meaning just a standard child that comes into foster care that isn't medically fragile, meaning they need lots and lots of medical care on a regular basis, or a high needs child, a child that needs constant supervision and there's rules around that, but imagine a child that just needs an extraordinary amount of one-on-one time, okay? So as long as you don't have one of those two, on average across the United States, the stipend is somewhere between $25 a day and $35 a day per child. So we're going to work off the low end because that's the easiest. Anything above this is bonus. So if you imagine you have one child in your home, you get $25 a day and you have 30 days in a month. So 25 times 30 is $750. So you will receive a check from either your agency or the county for $750 per month. Now that check typically comes 3 weeks after the first month, meaning you'll go the entire first month and then typically 3 weeks into the next month, you'll receive your stipend payment for the previous month. But understand that once the child leaves, you're going to still continue to receive stipend payments because you will not been paid for the entire time that they were in your home. So let's break down $750 a month. So I have 5 kids, and I can tell you that my children don't cost $750 a month. If you figure the little bit of food, the little bit of utilities, the little bit of things that you're going to need, $750 is more than enough money to cover all of those expenses with no trouble. So now, if you do a lot of extracurricular things, sports, or you decide, like we did, you decide to enroll them in competitive gymnastics, $750 a month isn't going to cover it, okay? But that's a choice that you're making. But you could enroll them in soccer or football or baseball or band or drama or just a host of things. And what we have found is if you go to the organization and you say, hey, look, I have a foster child is there that would like to do your activity, whatever that might be. Do you have any full or partial scholarships? And what you will find is lots and lots of organizations will be more than willing to at least give you a partial scholarship. Now, what does that mean? It depends on the organization. We've put kids in soccer where the soccer program said that they would cut the fees by 50%. And that was wonderful. So it cost us 50% less because of that child being in foster care. So understand that lots of organizations will work with you. But if you think about it, $750 a month, that's a lot of money. That, you're going to spend some gas, you're going to spend some money on food, you're going to spend some money on utilities, but you're not going to spend $750. Now, you're going to have to buy Christmas presents, you're going to have to buy birthday presents, and so you're going to spend a little bit of money there, but still, $750 a month should cover it. Where we foster, we're required to give our children an allowance, so that allowance comes out of that $750. It doesn't matter the age, we're required to give an allowance. It can be a quarter a week, but you're required to give an allowance to the foster child. And so you may be required to do that also, but that would come out of the $750. The other thing that would come out of the $750 is daycare expenses. So if you go through an agency, more than likely you're going to have to pay for daycare, and so that would come out of the $750. But again, there's lots of daycare organizations that when you tell them that you have a foster child, a lot of times they'll discount their normal rate for you. Not always, but a lot of times they'll discount their rate. So that is one of the advantages to going through the county, is a lot of times the county will either do a direct pay or have a voucher program for daycare. But also understand, a lot of times the county pays closer to the $25 per day, and agencies sometimes pay closer to the $35 per day. And if you think about 10 extra dollars per day times 30 days, that's an extra $300. And so that would help offset some of the daycare costs. On top of the stipend, the children that come into care are going to be on Medicaid, which means there's going to be zero copay. You have to go to a doctor that's willing to take Medicaid, but I will tell you, it is not like your insurance. When we take our kids to the doctor, the first thing they ask for is a copay, and you give them a credit card, or you write them a check, or you give them cash, but they take that right off the top. I can tell you that our children in foster care, we have never paid a single dime for any procedure or any appointment that they have been a part of. So there is zero medical costs that comes out of your pocket with regards to a foster child. So that's a benefit too. You don't have to use your insurance. So that's also a benefit. So to be fully transparent, my wife and I spent more than $750 a month on our foster children. But we put them in activities. We mostly take teenagers. So we give them cell phones. We do all sorts of things like that. This is what we do for our bio children. And so we try to treat our foster children like our bio children. We are really big into sports and those kinds of activities, and we believe that it builds character. And so we ask the children what sport they want to do. We've had soccer, gymnastics, basketball, we had band, we had one that did lacrosse. So we've done lots of sports, and unfortunately, if you're not in the sports world, sports travel now, and so there's cost to sports that didn't used to exist. It used to be that you only played on Saturday and that was it, and you practiced once a week. And I can tell you, even in soccer, we were 2 practices a week and games on Saturday, and traveling, typically within an hour of where we live, but still could be an hour of travel. Now, our daughters that were in gymnastics, that was traveling to meets. That was traveling 5 or 6 hours, hotel rooms. That was practice every single day, 4 to 5 hours a day. In the summertime, 8 to 10 hours a day. And so that's a whole different world. Swimming's like that, tennis is like that. And so any of you that are involved in those kind of sports understand the dedication that is required to be in those kinds of sports. So we spent far more than what we received. But again, we knew that going in. We knew that we were going to spend money, and that was okay. I want to touch on a sensitive subject, and most of you probably have done some quick math in your head, and if you do the bare minimum, there's a fair amount of money left over every month, and so there are people out there that make a living doing this, and I'm not opposed to that as long as they're giving the child the care and the love that the child deserves. If you want to make money at this, I think it's the wrong reason to go into it. But I want to just say this. The thing that everybody has to remember is that some adult has already let this child down. And this child's been put into a miserable situation. And we are not supposed to be letting these children down. We are not supposed to put them in a miserable situation. We're supposed to be lifting them up. So, look, if you're going to do this and for financial reward, nobody can stop you from doing that. I will tell you that agencies will frown on it. Some counties do, some counties don't. But and through all of the things that you have to do to get licensed, they're going to figure out pretty quickly if that's your intent or not. But if you do, and that is your intent, my request would be that you make sure that you show these children the love that they deserve and you give them what they need. Because again, we're supposed to be the ones lifting them up. We're not supposed to be another adult letting them down. So that's all I got to say about that. It's a touchy subject for me, but I know that it happens. And so if that's you, then so be it. I think most people that go into this is because they have a heart for children. And if they have a couple dollars left over at the end of every month, that's just a bonus. And so I think that's the way most people go about it. But again, if you decide to go a different route, that's your choice. A couple other things I want to talk about. So currently, as of the date that this was filmed, the IRS says that if the child is with you 6 months or greater, that you are entitled to claim that child on your taxes. And so you will get a child's tax credit because of that child. Now, I will tell you that if you're going to do that, file your taxes as soon as possible. Because unfortunately, the parent of the foster child, the bio parent, sometimes still claims them on their taxes, and it gets to be a mess. Legally, you have a right to claim them, but then the IRS will send you a note and says somebody had already claimed them, and then you have to send them a bunch of paperwork. If you get yours filed relatively early, typically you'll beat them to filing, and then when they file with that child's name and social security number on their tax return, they will get the letter from the IRS that says, hey, somebody has already claimed them. So that's a big perk that a lot of people don't think about. So the money is tax-free. So think about that. Let's just, let's say that a child is with you for 10 months. That's $7,500 of tax-free money. So that's a lot of money. If you put average income, tax on that, that would be $10,000, $12,000 worth of income. So that's quite a bit of money. Plus, if they're there with you for 10 months, you get to claim them on your federal taxes. So again, the rule is at this moment, 6 months or more, you can claim them on your federal income tax. And that's a big deal. And so you'll get a child tax credit because of that. And so that's even more money on top of that. So, you know, a lot of people don't become foster parents because they're concerned about the financial aspect. And hopefully through this, I've shown you that as long as you can pay your bills now, there's enough money for you to cover all your expenses. And the last thing that I want to talk about is there are literally hundreds of agencies out there, or hundreds of organizations out there that are dedicated to helping foster parents with clothing, beds, delivery or transportation services, and all sorts of things out there. So as you get into this, you'll need to start to research and find out where these organizations are, because again, there's tons and tons of organizations that are out there to help give you free resources to help you along your journey. So again, if finances is the thing that's holding you back, please really look at this, because I think you'll figure out that if that's really the stopping point, it shouldn't be. If my wife and I knew what we know now, we would have started being foster parents long before we did. But we didn't, because we were concerned about the financial aspects. Because again, we have so many kids and all of them were in sports, and we had, you know, huge expenses outside of our normal living expenses. And so we were just really concerned about having all those additional expenses that we would have taken on by bringing foster children in. So I hope this has helped. If this has, please subscribe if you want more information about foster care. I'm constantly updating videos.